everybody. I am Joni here with 3 International, and hopefully you are all joining us for another Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Dan. August is National Wellness Month, so since 3 is the proactive wellness company, we wanted to pair up with Dr. Dan, who is all about finding the nutrients and the foods to help you stay well and healthy. So it felt like a perfect match. Hopefully you guys know that. Hopefully you watched our previous Wellness Wednesdays. This is our 3rd one, so if you haven't watched those previous ones, they are in the feed at the III_Earth Instagram. So make sure you catch those after you watch this live. Before I bring on Dr. Dan today, I want to remind you all, make sure that you are commenting, tagging your friends, and the link in our bio will take you to a little form to fill out so you can receive our newsletter, our wellness newsletter. That will put you in the running to receive our little National Wellness Month giveaway prize, which includes all of the 3 products. This was harder than it looks getting these all in here, guys. These are good stuff. We're going to talk a lot more about these today, so stay tuned so you can learn some more, as well as some wellness things that you need. You know, candles, cute water bottles, fuzzy blankets, all the stuff. So if you want to be in the running to win some of this or all of this, make sure that you are commenting, tagging your friends, and that you are in that newsletter so we can send you more content like this. I'm going to get Dr. Dan on with us so we can dive into talking about wellness and Hey, I'm so excited. Love the heart eyes. These are good prizes, right? I'm obsessed with this water bottle, by the way. So if any of you have this kind or one like it, if you love it, let me know, because I was pretty stoked when I was picking it out. Hi, Dr. Dan, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. Good to see you.
You too. Thanks for joining us for another Wellness Wednesday.
There is no other place I'd rather be than here. I'm excited.
Good. I'm excited. Today's topic is supplements, and you know that 3, the Proactive Wellness Company, is all about these awesome supplements. So I'm really excited for today.
Me too. Yeah, I hope we help the listeners understand the importance of science-based supplementation when it comes to improving overall human health, and especially for being proactively well.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a bad rap, right? Like, because we've been talking a lot about foods and the foods that you can eat and how you can do a lot of that stuff naturally without supplementing, because that is kind of the goal. But for some stuff, you need supplements, right?
That's right. You know, in a perfect world, you know, if everything was perfect, then eat healthy and exercise, you know, it might be enough. But we don't live in a perfect world. You know, we have the processed diet. We don't sleep well. Stress, anxiety, pollution, soil depletion. All of these things create a gap from where we should be, you know, where we are to where we should be. And so science-based supplementation, if done right with curated phytonutrients and delivery systems, can help to bridge that gap.
Well, and not to mention it's difficult and sometimes expensive, like the foods that we've been talking about that you mentioned for better sleep and to help you stay moving. Sometimes it does get a little overwhelming thinking about having to have all of that stuff constantly to keep you feeling healthy and well. So maybe supplementing it kind of is efficient and a little bit easier for things like that.
That's right. That's a great point. It can be. Some of the things that we're talking about eating, depending on where you live in the world and climates and grocery stores and supply chain, it might be harder to get a hold of some of these things that we've talked about than others.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to spend all my time at the grocery store loading up on this stuff that I may or may not eat because I may or may not remember.
Right. That's right.
Well, good. Okay. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about how you pick the right supplements for you. How do you decide what you need and what supplements can help with those needs?
Yeah, so we talked about how supplements in some eyes have a bad rap in society. You know, and a lot of that I think is the own doing of the supplement industry, because you have products that are very, very cheap, that are not high quality, that are not well made. So some of the things to look for is, number one, you want a formula that's developed from scratch. And that might be a little harder to look for, but basically you want something that's unique, that's different, that's not just a standard. A lot of times when you go to the supplement aisle, there's like 10 or 12 supplements where you look on the back and it's all exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And then you have one that's maybe a bit different and unique. That usually means that supplement was created from scratch, because what most companies do when they want to develop a supplement is they talk to a manufacturer and they say, hey, you know, I want a, I don't know, joint health product. And
Right.
the manufacturer grabs one right off the shelf, gives
There you
it to
go.
you. You start selling and away you go. You have your marketing team try to put a spin on it to make it different, and away you go.
So what we should be looking for is like unique ingredients, even different sorts of blends within those, right?
That's right. Unique ingredients. You know, proprietary blends are not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people are saying, well, no proprietary blends. Well, proprietary blend can mean two things. It can mean, you know, it's everything's in there at a very, very small amount. Or it could be that the nutrients were curated in such a way that they have intellectual property behind that. And so they're protecting their intellectual property. And, you know, I know that that's the case at 3 when they have proprietary blends. It's because of the IP behind those blends.
I did not know that. That's very important, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Because sometimes you see those and you're like, okay, well, what's in a proprietary blend? So knowing that sometimes people are doing that, intentionally, and for good reasons is nice to know.
That's right. Yeah, supplement companies that are trying to do things the right way, that have intellectual property behind their inventions, especially as they're filing the intellectual property, putting it as a proprietary blend helps to protect their IP as they go through the patent process.
So would another thing that we should look for would be studies. I know that 3 does clinical studies on their products and the absorbability of their products. So I'm guessing that's something that we should be looking into for all of our supplements.
That's exactly right. And the important thing about clinical studies, like you mentioned, Joni, is absorption studies. Very, very important, right? Because you can have the most powerful molecule on the planet, but unless it's actually absorbed into the cell and gets to where it needs to go before it can cause the magic to happen, then it's of no use. So you want absorption studies, and most importantly, with absorption and clinical studies, you want it on the finished formula itself. Because a lot of times what companies do is they say, we have clinical studies, but it's on one ingredient that they have there in 10 milligram amount, and then they have 26 other ingredients, and then they're saying it's clinically studied, and that's not the case.
Oh my gosh, it just makes you like want more integrity within the supplement companies that you're choosing. So it makes you want to be a little bit more intentional. Like maybe the stuff at the store is easier to grab, but is it worth it knowing that there's stuff like that behind it?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, there is regulation in the supplement industry by the FDA, but it is unfortunate that some regulations, it's easier for companies to kind of pull the wool over our eyes, which is unfortunate. So that's why I'm glad we're talking about this, because we need to be discerning consumers as we buy something so that we can get something that really will do the trick in helping us.
Yeah, being a little bit educated to look for those clinical studies and those strains and making sure that they're absorbable is huge, because I don't want to waste my money on stuff like you just said that isn't really working.
Exactly.
I think it's nice to be educated on those. Okay, we've been talking a lot about food, right? And what food can do for you. And now we're talking about supplements, right? So let's talk about bridging that gap. What do we need to be doing, and why do we need to be conscious about our supplements if we're eating those foods that we're supposed to be?
Yeah, so in order to bridge that gap, we need to make sure that, number one, we have the right nutrients that the body needs. The body needs nutrients, and these nutrients are critical for the body to take these nutrients and convert them into other molecules that it needs to function properly. And so at the core, at the foundation, when it comes to supplementation, is a vitamin and mineral supplement. When I say that, most people think of multivitamin, and that's true. You know, if you have a really good multivitamin that contains micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, but not just that, the body needs other things. It needs trace minerals. It needs chlorophyll. It needs enzymes. It needs phytonutrients from different fruit and vegetable sources. It needs chlorella and different superfoods that really do have good function for the body.
See, this is why doctors like you formulate products and not normal people that don't know what most of those things are.
Right, you know, but really that's what the body needs. You know, one thing that we didn't mention before, what to look for in a supplement, is you want a supplement that's formulated by someone that knows what they're doing. And it's really helpful if you know who the formulator is. You know, a lot of times people just randomly throw things in and they think they know what they're doing, but they're not trained. They don't really know the science. They don't know pharmacokinetics of different ingredients. And, you know, one thing in the supplement industry that's really interesting is the more is better approach. And you get in these arms race, that if 10 billion probiotics is good, 20 is better. And if 20 is good, 50 is the best. And then, oh, I'm going to have 100. But what happens is you get diminishing returns. For instance, in a probiotic, if you add too large of a bacterial count, even though it's good bacteria, it can cause an imbalance in the microbiome, and it can be harmful for the body. So more is not always better. You need people that know how much to add, what's the efficacious amount, but not too much in order to support human health.
Yeah, and that just goes back to what we were saying earlier about being an educated consumer, and not just saying, oh, this one has how many billion probiotics in it, and kind of knowing what to look for, because that is sometimes that's all we know to do as consumers, is look for something that has more or better or is bigger. So that's nice to know that we need to pay attention to even those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr.
Education is
Dan,
a key.
I saw somewhere that 1/3 of Americans are vitamin deficient. Is that true?
That is true. Yeah. And one of the really interesting things about that is absorption, like we talked about earlier. A lot of times we are eating the vitamins and minerals, but because of the condition of the body, because of the condition of the intestines, and a lot of us have heard the term leaky gut, because of those conditions, a lot of the nutrients from our food, they don't pass into the body as they should. And so that's one of the reasons we're nutrient deficient. And so that's why it's so important that we start eating well, and if it's a good fit, taking science-based supplements so that we could get the body back and rejuvenate to the point that it can actually start to absorb those nutrients.
Yeah, and the leaky gut thing that you said, I didn't realize how much of your immune system was wrapped into your gut. I think it's almost 80%. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
So even things as simple as, staying away from the common cold and things like that have to do with your gut and taking care of it, which, as we just talked about, depends on the absorbability of what you're eating and taking.
That's right.
That is crazy to me. So much to do, so little time.
Yeah. And again, that's where supplementation could be helpful, because we are busy. We do have a lot to do, and so it can provide a lot of peace of mind if we find a supplement brand that we know and that we trust, that we can order the products and have them come to our doorstep, and then we can use them and give them to our family members, so that, some of that guilt, I think sometimes we have guilt, that, oh, am I doing enough for my health? Am I doing enough for the health of my spouse and my children and my partner or whatever? And it can cause unnecessary guilt. And so having something that we know that's good, that we can fall back on, that can give us peace of mind while improving health at the same time. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, well, and just the convenience factor of it,
Yeah.
Not having to, like we talked about, all of the foods and all of the things that we're looking for, but being able to grab, here's my product placement, a little pouch with all the stuff that you need is convenient. Run out the door, grab your collagen and just rip and sip and on the go. Sometimes it's a little daunting, like looking through all of the things that you're supposed to be taking. So it's nice to just have it all laid out for you. Here's what you're doing, and we've talked about routine and adding those things to your routine. Just like your routines for sleeping, right? I hope you guys all caught our live that we did a little while ago about sleeping. If you didn't catch that, make sure you head back to the III_Earth Instagram. It was awesome. Dr. Dan gave me some tips that have certainly helped me sleep, as well as moving our bodies. So those were our 2 previous Wellness Wednesday lives. Again, you can catch that on the 3Earth Instagram, and then we did supplements today, and then next time we have one more Wellness Wednesday, so you guys have one more opportunity to catch us live. For those of you just joining, I'm seeing a lot of people join, so it's nice to see you guys. Don't worry if you didn't catch the beginning of this, you can watch the replay at the III_Earth Instagram afterwards. Oh, Jody says that she's sleeping like a baby. That's awesome. That's great to hear. So make sure that you're catching those. And again, just remember that it is National Wellness Month. So we are doing a giveaway. You've got to comment. You've got to get added to our wellness newsletter. And then you'll be in the running to receive all of the 3 products. That's 6 products. They're amazing, as well as a little gift basket that we've put together for you for wellness. It's got journals. It's got a jump rope, some candles, a warm fuzzy blanket, all the things to keep you healthy and well. So again, Dr. Dan, just to reiterate, supplements, let's be educated consumers, right? We're looking for a few particular things. Like what? Give us like top 3 things to look for.
Yeah, you want to look for clinical studies behind it. You want to know who's formulated it. And the other thing is you want to look for certifications where other bodies, certified bodies, have vetted the product. And one of the best certifying bodies is a physician's desk reference, or PDR. There's not many supplements in the PDR. And so if supplements, and I know 3 supplements are in the PDR, if supplements are in the PDR, that means that they're medical grade. They've been backed by reviewers who are medical professionals, and they recommend, they've included in the database that these could be good options for medical professionals as they work with their patients. So that's a really big deal too.
I've never even thought of that. Like, you see commercials about Colgate toothpaste, right? 6 out of 7 dentists recommend. So supplements, and 3 supplements specifically, are actually recommended by doctors and in the physician's desk reference.
Exactly. It's a big deal.
That's huge, you guys. If you don't know what the physician's desk reference is, we do have a blog about it. You are welcome to head to iii.earth, and you can find the blog in the footer there of that page, and you can do some more research about the physician's desk reference if that's interesting to you. Dr. Dan and I are total nerds about it. We think it's awesome. So dive in. Let us know if you have questions. As always, I haven't seen very many questions, just lots of thank yous, lots of grateful people for better sleep habits. Dr. Dan. So if you guys do have questions, make sure you drop them in the comments for us. Dr. Dan and I always go back and try to answer all of your questions that we didn't get to. If you have questions regarding supplements, how to pick them, when to take them, all of that, let us know. Speaking of when to take them, Dr. Dan and I are correct in saying that it's not always important when you take supplements, but it's more so important to stay consistent with the time that you have picked.
That's right. I say that the best time to take a supplement is the time that you remember to take it. That's simple.
Noted. Okay. Again, guys, if you have questions, let us know. Oh, we got one. Which 3 supplements can be consumed by children? Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have even read that. On the label of 3 products, you'll see that our products are not recommended for people 12 and younger, and we always recommend speaking to your primary care physician before making those decisions. Same thing with children. Pregnant or nursing women too. So just always check with your primary physician before you make those decisions about supplements in general. All right, I don't see any other questions. Please let us know. Be commenting and tagging your friends. You guys, we want everybody to know this. We want you all to be educated consumers and know what you're getting into and be able to make like a really confident decision when you're picking stuff like this. So we're always here to help. Feel free to message us or anything else. And otherwise, we will see you guys next week. Bye.